Okay, so now we're going to address the real elephant in the room, and this I think has been sparkling quite a lot of debates, is that whether or not the Wing Chun instructor actually truly represented Wing Chun. And that's like a big touchy subject, okay? So before I go into that, let me just say that I have done a couple years of Wing Chun. I'm not a lynch holder or expert, but I know enough of how Wing Chun works to be able to make a comment of my own opinion. Okay, you might not agree with it, but you know, you're watching my channel, I assume you want to know what I think, so hear me out. Now, there are people initially who accuse the Wing Chun instructor of not using Wing Chun, and there are some of his supporters that came out and say what he's doing is Wing Chun, because Wing Chun is about center line, and center line is about having your body rooted, grounded, in balance. And throughout the whole video, in the encounter, he was controlling his center line, he was well balanced, and was executing his technique, and therefore he is doing Wing Chun. The problem with that is, if center line is the only requirement to be Wing Chun, then Xing Yi is Wing Chun too, right? But can you get the two styles to agree that they're both the same style? The Tai Chi is Wing Chun as well. When in Tai Chi, there's Zhong Zheng, An Shu, right? It's exactly the same description for center line. And in fact, half of Chinese martial art is Wing Chun. Everyone talks about the center line. Only a few styles, you know, move around total, right? Even Southern Mantis, although that is kind of related to Wing Chun. But my point is, there's so many styles that focus on having a center line. So it's incorrect to say just because he has one principle from Wing Chun, therefore he is properly representing Wing Chun fighting method. I think that is inaccurate. Okay? And let's just say, for the record, I do think he has fighting skill and he did fucking beat the JKD guy quite well. So there's nothing wrong with his fighting skill. We're purely discussing here whether what he did represents Wing Chun. And in that regard, I don't really see much Wing Chun other than when he's on the ground, some of the punches he's thrown at him was kind of like the Wing Chun punch. But other than that, you know, just the slap initially,
knock you the fuck. Come on, nigga, knock you.
the punches he threw, the throw.
Punch me in your fucking plate.
None of those are strictly Wing Chun. Now, of course, you tell me there are some Wing Chun schools there that teaches these takedown throws, and the schools maybe that do slaps. Okay, look, martial art is like language. It's alive. It changes, right? Back when I was young, there's a lot of English phrases that are not used like today, like "don't," right? It's cool. Well, back in the day, that didn't mean cool. So things change. So it's normal that Wing Chun will add in some takedowns, maybe add in some other stuff, and it's good for martial art to grow, adopt new and useful things. But it's important to understand what makes Wing Chun unique from other martial arts. And in this case, the most obvious thing is 日字冲拳, right? The some character punch, where you stand from here and you do this punch, right? Everyone who's seen or done Wing Chun knows this. And this is a primary punch, because in all three forms, you start off doing this punch. And if you're doing drills, one of the most basic drills is also the one guy doing a punch, the other guy doing pak shou, right? So if you look at any Hong Kong Wing Chun learning or Foshan, you see that this is one of the primary punches. So how many of that did he do in the video? Other than the one was on the ground, which might just be a coincidence. I don't see any. While he was standing, when the guy was in his face, he wasn't doing this to the guy, right? He was like slapping him on the side. So to me, that's not exactly a faithful representation of Wing Chun strike. And some of the other common ones, right? Such as these, right? If you look through the three Wing Chun primary forms, there's no strike that he was doing was part of those. And obviously, the next thing is, where is the three primary hand? Bang shou, tan shou, and fuk shou, right? There's none. Obviously, you can argue that the kid didn't give him a bridge, and therefore he didn't have the opportunity to use those, which is a valid argument. But then you can't say he's actually representing Wing Chun, right? I'm okay if someone said he is a professional Wing Chun fighter, but in this video, he didn't have the opportunity to use his Wing Chun skill. And I'll be okay with that, partially at least. I mean, I will still argue why he didn't stop with some character punch. Why his instinctive reaction is to slap the guy, and then doing more boxing-like punches, right? I will still argue that, but at least that's a better explanation than because he has center line, therefore he is doing Wing Chun. I think that is very bogus. Okay? So I don't know his Wing Chun level, so maybe he's a good Wing Chun fighter, I don't know. But in this video, I can't see enough unique characteristic of Wing Chun to convince me that he actually faithfully represents the Wing Chun fighting method in that fight or that incident. And I mean, if you look at all Wing Chun style, right, they might do things differently, but everyone does Qi Shao. Why? Is it for fun? No, right? If Qi Shao is just something unimportant, then people should just stop doing Qi Shao. The fact that Wing Chun spends most of his time doing Qi Shao is because it must be important to the style. And in this whole instance, there's no sign of him using Qi Shao in any way. And in case you don't know what Qi Shao is, right? Let's do a quick recap. So he's in Bang Shao, and then this is a strike, and in this case, so I'm in Tan Shou, and he's in Fuk Shou, right? And it switches around. And now I'm in Bang Shou, and Fuk Shou, and he's in Tan Shou, and this is a strike. So in this whole thing, you can really see the three primary hands is consistent, and that's why these three hands are most important, because it's the bread and butter of the style. And everything that you else you practice is coming from here, that you know it comes out. So that is the heart of Wing Chun, is to get into close contact in a trapping distance, wrap his arms up, and then try to punch it. Okay, and in this video, he did none of that. So therefore, maybe he is a well-versed Wing Chun practitioner normally, but he didn't show any Wing Chun here. Instead, what I see is an affinity for MMA. Which is nothing wrong with it, right? I mean, MMA is very efficient and practical. There's nothing wrong with any martial arts training MMA. But be honest about it, right? The way he takes the guy down, the way he controls the guy on the ground with the knee.
Fuck you think you walking to my shit? Nigga, fucking break you, bitch. You fucking kidding me?
The way that he was in almost like a half guard.
In your fucking place.
Doing ground and pound. Those are all MMA stuff. I'm not saying he trained MMA, but he definitely had influence from MMA. And people, not him, I'm talking about him because I don't know what he said, but other people, Wing Chun supporters, need to be honest about what actually happened here. The fact that he didn't choose to fight the kick on the foot like what Wing Chun practitioner would do, he chose to take him to the ground, which is an MMA thing, right? I mean, in case you want to say it's Jiu-Jitsu thing, Jiu-Jitsu take people on the ground and they submit them. He got into the ground and he ground and pound. So that's like an MMA thing. Okay, and that's clearly his chosen method to win in that particular fight. So, and you can ask yourself, right, would you get the same type of skill from purely training Wing Chun, or would you get that type of skill from training MMA? I think the answer is quite obvious. Or rather, do you need to do Wing Chun to be able to fight like what he did in the video? And the answer is obviously not. And therefore, I don't think he was representing Wing Chun in that video. What do you think?
Well, I don't do Wing Chun enough to add in my 2 cents. Actually.
But if you didn't see anything, you just see the video, would you think the guy did Wing Chun?
Well, look, you know, if I have to rate him as a Wing Chun practitioner, right, it's probably it's not going to be highly rated. But you know, the Wing Chun instructor, do you have my respect as a fighter?
Yes, he's a good fighter, right? So we're not saying anything about his fighting capability.
Fighting abilities.
Yes.
But as a Wing Chun user, it's a little bit, you know, there's a lot to question.
Based on the video, right? So maybe he does good Wing Chun, you know,
somewhere else.
Off the camera. Yeah. But if you just, I don't know him, right? Neither do you. But if you just watch that one video, I don't see any clear Wing Chun indication. So my only issue is to people who try to say, based on this one video, that he's displaying Wing Chun qualities. I don't see that. I think that's the only problem in that regard.
Yeah, well, you know. Well, like I said, I'm not a Wing Chun, you know, practitioner myself. You know, I've done a couple of hands and, you know, here and there and whatnot. But yeah, it's at the end of the day, look, I mean, you know, whatever drops the guy, right?
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
But
Be honest on what you use.
well, but I would imagine the people that write about the Wing Chun comments, not the Wing Chun instructor himself.
Yes,
right?
not himself.
Because he didn't actually say much on that topic.
Okay.
He just said that he used 1 or 2 moves.
Okay.
That is from Wing Chun, but I'm not familiar with Wing Chun, so I can't say. But whoever that comments on the whole incident, right? Yeah, well, I tend to disagree with the fact that he's displaying some fundamental Wing Chun properties.
Yeah, if that's Wing Chun, then Mike Tyson is Wing Chun too. So is McGregor and Anderson Silva, John Jones, everybody's Wing Chun. And then you see what kind of problem we run into.
Indeed.
But yeah, so like I say, his fighting skill is good. He did the right thing, maybe a bit overly aggravated, but all that JKD guy got what he deserved. And don't do that if that was you, right? Don't put yourself in that kind of situation. It's a very disrespectful thing to do. And that was going to add.
Yeah. Well, I would like to congratulate the Wing Chun instructor.
Okay.
Although it's not really graceful and there's a lot more improvement. Even he wrote on the afterthoughts.
You actually made the comment. Right.
Yeah, it was actually very insightful.
Okay.
It shows his, he actually managed to keep a clear head. During the fights, he can record all the details and why he did this and whatnot. Not really Wing Chun related, except 1 or 2 moves.
Yes.
He acknowledged that. But I would watch out if I have to face him in the ring.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Not because of the Wing Chun ability.
Yeah, but he's a decent fighter. Yes.
But as a fighter.
Yes.
So he got my respect. The young man, though, however, it's I don't have much to say about it.
I think he needs to face reality. Like put his feet down to the ground. Come back to earth.
What I do think that he needs to do or reevaluate, so it's look, I mean, coming from I'm not a well-established fighter, so when I say I don't have any respect for this young man, doesn't mean much because I'm not I don't have
experience.
Well, I'm not a good fighter.
Okay.
So so when I say I don't have respect for him, doesn't mean much. It's coming from an average Joe.
Okay.
What should be keeping him up at night though? It's the fact that he doesn't have self-respect.
Okay, that's a good point.
And that coming, it doesn't need to be coming from a grandmaster or whatsoever. It's coming from within self. And if he doesn't have that, which he clearly doesn't, he should worry more about that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Also, people don't have self-respect, suddenly can reflect upon it because you need self-respect to know what self-respect is.
Well,
The irony of it, that you don't understand self-respect until you have self-respect.
Indeed.
It's catch-22.
Very problematic.
Yes. Anyway, with that said, that'll be all for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, please subscribe on my YouTube channel and click on the bell icon so that you get new content update notification. And if you can support me on Patreon, it would be greatly appreciated. Your support will go a long way in letting me know that the people out there are appreciating the content and debunking and information that I'm trying to share with the community. As always, I give a shout out to all my Patreon supporters. Thank you guys so much for supporting me, especially through this pandemic. I know it's not easy on anyone's wallet, so anything I can do for you guys, videos, information, content, always feel free to message me and contact me at any time. And of course, on my Patreon channel, I have a whole list of exclusive videos on the 4 fundamental forces, in-depth look on each force, as well as a lot of other content that you most likely will not be able to get anywhere else on the internet. So if you're interested, do consider to support me on Patreon. Lastly, I'd like to remind everybody we're still in the pandemic. COVID is real, so wash your hands, wear your mask, social distance, stay home if you can, and hopefully that eventually at some point the tsunami will be behind us. So thanks for watching TriEssence martial art channel, and I'll see you next time.